All right, we are recording. Hey, welcome to the Fanzeel Sports Week in Review. Plus, this week we're going to do a little extra NFL preview. This week we are brought to you by the Zolt Laptop Charger Plus. If you have not seen one of these yet, the Wall Street Journal just named this its top choice for laptop chargers. It is this big. It is nothing. Here's my phone, right? Just a regular iPhone 6. Here's the charger. Now, this thing charges your laptop, your iPhone, your Samsung Galaxy, really anything with a USB port. It is just an amazing device. I can't say enough about it, and we'll talk a little bit about it later. But I want to thank the folks at Zolt Charger first for getting me one because this was their big launch week. And from what I understand, the orders were through the roof. It certainly helps when the Wall Street Journal and Engadget and all these other places are saying this is the device to have for the holiday season. So if you're looking for something to get your gadget lovers, if you're looking for a travel device, I'll be actually leaving for the East Coast tonight. This is all I need to charge my laptop and two devices. It's nothing. It's nothing.
It looks like an asthma inhaler.
Yeah, it's 3 ounces. It's cake. So check out the folks at gozolt.com. But thank them very much for sponsoring the program. Big week in sports. Lots of awards came out. Lots of basketball. But I want to start out with a question for you as a big basketball fan. How good are these Golden State Warriors? I know that Rodman came out this week, and he's now talking about comparisons with that 72-win Bulls team. Everybody said it can't be done. The Clippers, who are really their best competitor in the conference, get them down 41-25 at the end of one, and they got a big lead at half. And then the Clippers the Warriors just flat out took over and said, yeah, okay, we're done playing with you guys. How good is this team?
You know what? This is what happens when you have a championship caliber team that keeps the core of its group together and they still go by the same principles. You don't have any me first guys on their team. So you see the same mentality that got them on their championship run last year. You see that it's still evident there. And also look at the leadership on the team. I mean, you got a guy like Steph Curry who's a young guy. His game has flashed, but when you look at him himself, I mean, he's a married guy. He's got kids.
Yep.
So they're not out there trying to party all night and do all that stuff. They're focused on winning a championship. And when you look at the championship pedigree and the coaching staff, the coaching staff has obviously done a good job of passing that message down to the younger players, as well as I'm sure the fathers of these guys.
Right.
But I mean, it's unbelievable. Like they're playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much of last night was how bad the Clippers looked versus how good Golden State played. I'm gonna go a little 60-40 on that.
Okay.
And Golden State, they did a great job coming back, but there's no way you should be up on a team 23 points. If you're a championship caliber team, a playoff level team, you should not be able to let a team come back from 23 points down. I mean, the Clippers got to get somebody that can play defense other than Jordan.
Well, and it's interesting because you talked about the unselfishness, and you can really see it in how excited these guys are when somebody else on their team does something great. It's not just about, hey, let me pass you the ball or let me just, make sure everybody's involved in the offense. Let's not make this all about Steph tonight. These guys are legitimately excited when somebody else on their team says, okay, let me step up and take the next few minutes. When I think it was an inbounds between Iguodala and Barnes. And it was unbelievable because Iguodala, everybody's looking to block Steph from getting the pass. Barnes gets the easy layup. And Iguodala's running down the court doing a little shimmy, a little shake. He's got a little dance on. He is legitimately excited. And this is an inbounds pass.
Yeah. Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of watching college basketball when guys actually care.
That's interesting.
It's the team first mentality. If you look at the guys we all know all the guys that play at Kentucky are pretty much one and done guys.
Sure.
But you look at how much fun that they have when they're out there playing. When they were crushing teams last year, even when they were just squeaking by teams, it was still fun for those guys. And that's why you look at what Kentucky has produced just in the last, 15 years, the products that it's produced in the league. And these are all guys that are legitimate stars or on the cusp of being stars. So it's hard to really find that in the NBA, in the current NBA, that mentality, and for some reason Golden State has it. And these aren't young guys either. I mean, you've got some guys, they've got some decent experience. Iguodala, he's in his at least 12th season.
Yeah, he's been around. Sure. Sixers, great player there. Played some in Denver.
Yeah, he wasted a lot of years in Philly. Hey, he did. He did. I mean, AI and AI 2. Remember that project?
Yeah, I do.
And so, but to see these guys that are having fun and playing the game the right way, and it's not just ISO ball, they're actually running sets. And I mean, whenever I watch Steph Curry out there playing, I feel like he's playing horse, but he always makes it. So it's like you can't say that was a bad shot because that bad shot's going in.
Well, and
he's making the bad shot.
And if you've watched him over the last couple of weeks, you have to ask yourself, is there a shot he can't make? I mean, he's falling down and throwing them up just to get the foul. The ball goes in. He's got 2 seconds left, so he'll shoot it from 2 feet inside the half-court line. That goes in. The trigger we've already talked about on the show, a ton of times. Is there a shot that you as a defense feel comfortable giving Steph Curry?
The baseline on the opposite end of the,
right, like the 94-footer?
From the corner, yeah. 94 feet from the corner. Hook shot. That's the only one.
Nothing but
you know what I really think it is? And there's only been a handful of guys that played the game that had this kind of a handle on the ball. And not just handle as far as, handles themselves dribbling, but handle as far as in shooting touch, things of that nature. And you think of guys like Pistol Pete, Steph, Steve Nash had it.
Sure.
Where these guys, it does, and I'll even say Larry Bird had it. To where it doesn't look like they're shooting it. It looks like they're literally like throwing the ball into the hole.
Like they're dropping it from 25 away.
Yeah, I mean, but when I say throwing it, it's just like if you're playing shortstop, you know how to throw the ball to the first baseman.
Yep.
And how to have that control on it. Well, these guys have that control on their shot. And there's nothing you can do to stop it because they've already figured out how to do it. Right. Everyone else is just trying to figure out how to be a decent shooter. These guys have figured out how to master it from whatever angle. Like, as a basketball player, I was always taught to never practice shots that I'm never going to take.
So you didn't shoot anything outside of 4 feet is what you're telling me.
Au contraire, mon frère. But some of these shots that you look at Steph taking, they look like they're practice after the game, just kind of messing around. But that's his shot.
Right.
So as a defense, you have no chance. Like, you got to play up on him. And if you play up on him too much, a la Chris Paul, you're going to be in some State Farm ankle insurance commercials because, dude, he's going to make you look old. And I mean, let's be honest here. Of the elite level point guards, and elite level, I mean Steph, Westbrook, Chris Paul, John Wall. Who can guard who? Like nobody is really shutting anybody down in that group. You can.
Well, but that's the thing. But you're not going to put any. Yeah, but you're not going to waste any of those guys' energy putting them on one of the other guys, right? If you've got another guard on your team that can play lockdown defense, why would you waste the energy and waste the attention, away from these guys on the defensive end? None of these guys is one of those, Jordan type, Kobe type lockdown guys. So why even have him run around on the defensive end, waste the energy when really all you need him is to hold down the number 3 scorer on that side and spend most of his time on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, I mean, that was true in the old NBA a la 5 years ago. But nowadays, most teams, they don't really have a weak guy on their offense. And if it is, he's probably the big guy who's probably replaceable anyway. All the skill level positions and guys are basically 6'5" and under.
Right.
So you got to be able to score. It's and it's part of it is also the coaching. Some coaches have a different mentality. They're going to run you, screen and roll to death, and some of them they're just going to try and tire that other guy out. But if you got a guy like Russell Westbrook Russell Westbrook's going to take it upon himself and say, I want to guard this dude and I want to shut him down.
Right.
It's hard to escape that one. But, yeah, when Steph is hitting 45-footers that, he's shaking the ref, the mascot, the cheerleaders, the Coke and Peanuts guy, the t-shirt cheerleaders accidentally shot one another with the t-shirt.
The t-shirt cannon.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul should be forbidden from guarding Steph Curry in any other game because I'm tired of seeing all the memes and the GIFs the following day.
Those are brilliant. I want to move on because we're here on the FanZeal Sports Weekend Review. It's Friday night, and Brandon and I will be back here Sunday. There will not be any broadcast next week as it is Thanksgiving week, and we do want to wish in advance everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you get to spend some time with your family, and hopefully you do not work for one of those retailers that opens up their doors on Thanksgiving, which I find deplorable. Before we get to that,
have you some bird.
Right, there's going to be a lot of eating in my future. But I just want to show you, we talked a little about before, our sponsor for the day is Zolt Charger. And so this is the packet you get, right? So you get the little Zolt Charger, which is, again, tiny, and you get this cord and all these tips. So whatever PC you have, it's going to work. If you've got a Mac, they have an accessory Mac cable you can add on. It's just a brilliant, brilliant charger. Go to gozolt.com. You can tweet them at Zolt Charger. Or you can check with us at FanZeal and say, hey, what was that charger you talked about? And we'll give you all the information on the Zolt. Not to sound like the guy from the Hair Club for Men, but I am not only a fan, I am also now a user. And I appreciate the guys from Zolt getting me one to show off on the show because, my goodness, these things are just amazing. Little thing pops out. It's not a battery. It is a charger. So you get your little the plug pops out. And then it turns 90 degrees, by the way. So no matter where you are on your charge situation, this thing's going to go into just one and give you three things you can charge. Speaking of charged up, the NL MVP was named this week unanimously, Bryce Harper. A lot of people gave him a lot of crap last year. A season for the ages this year. And if you think we are being hyperbolic and talking in superlatives here, this was one of the 100 best seasons of all time. And while that doesn't sound, so great when you compare it up against somebody else, I do want to remind you that the kid is 23 years old. He had a ton of injuries on his team. His team did not make the playoffs. They fell down the stretch. And at 23 years old, he is doing things that are putting him in the discussion with Jimmy Fox and Mickey Mantle, Pete Rose, some of those guys, the Mike Schmitz of the world. I believe, and we'll double check, but I'm 99% certain he is a younger MVP than this year's Rookie of the Year in the NL. Brandon Boykin, where is this kid's ceiling if he has one? And when are people going to stop thinking of him as the 17-year-old cover boy of Sports Illustrated and start saying this guy's the best player in the league?
Well, you know what? If it weren't for a young man playing out in Anaheim by the name of Mike Trout, Mr. Harper would be getting all the press instead of a good portion of the press, which I think the league is in great hands in both of those cases. But too often what's happening, people are pitting Harper versus Trout.
Yep.
And I mean, they're both young outfielders.
And Trout finished second. Trout finished second in the AL MVP race this year. So after winning last year and finishing, top two the last couple years before that. So again, a good company to be in. But you're right. There's always that comparison.
Yeah, and I think for their careers, they're going to be forever linked because of the timeline that they came on to the scene. So in that aspect, they're always going to be tied, and they basically got to one up each other each time. The difference between Harper and Trout, though, really is just like there's a difference between Coke and Pepsi. One's got a little bit more bite to it. Now, I love any athlete that's got a little, and I hate the word swag or swagger, but I like to say who's got some cojones.
Oh, he's got
a little bit of Barkley.
Yep.
This kid's got the confidence, and the dude has the greatest home run celebration. If I had the locks to do it, I would do it myself. Dude, you trot off and you dip your head down into your teammate's hand and shake the hair. Dude, that's wonderful. So congratulations, Harper. Just work on that strikeout ratio because you struck out more times this year than Yogi Berra in an entire season. But I mean, that's Yogi Berra.
That's Yogi Berra. So before the 2014 season, ESPN asked about 150 players who the most overrated player in baseball was, and 24% said Bryce Harper. Before this season kicked off, 41% of about 120 players said Bryce Harper is the most overrated. Are we going to see anybody talking about him as overrated anymore?
I think you're still going to have your haters out there because they're going to – at some point they're going to go back to look to see, well, what did his team do? And to me, that's kind of an unfair knock because you can't play the outfield, catch, pitch, and play shortstop and coach the team. You can't do it all. There's so many different variables, and I mean, you or I could have did, I think, a better job, or at least a comparable job to what Matt Williams did there last season.
Brutal. Well, it's interesting you bring that up, though, because now they have Dusty Baker, and Dusty Baker, a longtime manager, wins everywhere he goes, a kind of guy that the media seems to be very lukewarm about, but his players love him. He communicates well, which is one thing that Matt Williams didn't do. There was the midseason story about Jason Worth and being just absolutely livid about how he was being communicated with and how the team was interacting with Williams, and screamed at him publicly, "When do you think it is you lost this team?" You're never going to get that from Dusty Baker. We've talked to players over the years who say, I've talked to guys who played for, Scioscia and Baker and Bobby Cox and some of the great managers, Terry Francona and those who have played for Baker and some of these other great guys said, look, those are good managers. They're tremendous tactical managers. I'm happy I got a chance to play for them. But if I had to pick one guy to play for, hands down, it would be Dusty Baker. And so you're walking into a situation where you finally have a tremendous amount of talent. They've had talent, but they haven't been able to put together. So now you've got talent. You've got the reigning MVP, and you've got a manager, an old school guy, but an old school guy who really knows how to make a team play hard all the time. Is he going to make some bad decisions with his pitching staff? Historically, the answer is yes. But better than making a bad decision with the entire roster.
Yeah. Dusty, I think they're kind of looking at it like this, playoffs / World Series or bust. And Dusty Baker is probably going to give them the best shot at that. As far as communicating dealing with the current roster that they have and not having to make too many major changes. If they would have went in another direction, say who is it, Bud Black that was originally, I think you definitely would have saw some major roster moves if Bud Black came into play. We'll see what Dusty can do. Like you said, nobody gets more out of his players as far as blood, sweat, and tears, and gets them focused on the task at hand than Dusty. And I mean, he's going to have his misfires here and there, but I think he could actually. I don't think he can do any worse.
Fair enough. We're lounging with Brandon Boykin and Justin Simon here. Brandon is slowly lowering as the show goes on. He likes to get comfy and talk sports a little bit. There we go. Now I can see your full dome. One of the things
I was moving the
he's chilling. Look, it's Friday night, people. If you're on the East Coast, it's already 8:30. You're ready to go out. Your weekend's over. If you're here on the West Coast, you are watching every minute until that 6:00 bell rings, and you can hit the 405, hit the 5. If you're up in San Francisco, hop on a BART and take 904 hours to get home. One more thing to talk about before we head off for the weekend, and then we're going to talk a little NFL schedule, and we'll quickly peruse the games. And Brandon and I are going to be back here Sunday night after the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games if you're on the East Coast, or the breakfast and lunch games as we call them if you're on the West Coast. But one of the things that's really interesting this week is the Lions, who have pretty much screwed up front office hiring at a level of exemplary performance. I mean, let's take a second and applaud them simply for how just simply terrible for a decade they have been at hiring front office people, and they decided
Matt Millen returned.
Right. Well, so they keep Matt Millen's guys on, and then they say, we're going to go outside, we're going to find the right person. We're gonna do a long search, and that was about a week ago. And they just named the Lions president Rod Wood, And Wood is a longtime confidant of the Fords. He's a finance guy. He's a money guy. He is not a football guy. And this is what he said today, and I quote, "I'd probably say that I'm not qualified to run any other NFL team, but I think I'm qualified to run this one. If I could run."
Wow.
I would argue if you're not qualified to run any other NFL team, then you're not qualified to run any NFL team, regardless if it's the Lions still plan on going 2-14.
Are we still considering the Lions an NFL team?
I mean, it is really borderline. If they hadn't beat the Packers, maybe not so much. I at least have to keep them in the conversation. But
you think they could beat USC?
Yes, stop. I never played this. Come on, I never played this NFL game. Let's say Alabama has, I don't know, let's call it 12 NFL guys on that roster, right? You're talking 6 legitimate first-round picks and somewhere between 6 and, call it 8 guys between, second and 10th round picks, even though there's not 10 rounds. Second and let's call it 7th round picks, right? So you've got legitimate 12 to 15 NFL guys on a roster. In Detroit, where you got a 53-man roster, let's assume you have at least 37 legitimate NFL guys, right? This isn't the Packers or the Steelers where you're like, okay, we've got 52 out of 53 guys who belong in this league and one guy because of injury. These guys are faster. They're stronger. I can't believe you got me on this roll. I'm pulling it back because this is going to start me off. I'll be here an hour later. Every time somebody starts this pro versus college argument with me, I just want to But back here on the Fans of Week in Review, what is it that the Lions are doing? What is it that this team is thinking this is a good idea? Because sure, the president can run the business side of things, but this has to be so much more than that. When your team is in such bad situation with its roster, when you're aging, when you're getting expensive, and when you don't have a lot of young talent in the pipeline, you need more than just somebody to go, yeah, I can run this team. You need people with real football knowledge to then continuously restock the organization with people with real football knowledge.
Well, this is the problem with Detroit, and that I'm going to solve everything and tell you exactly why they're in the position they're in and why it's not working and it's not going to work for a while. The reason that they're in a position that they are in, look at what they did to Barry Sanders. That tells you all you need to know about a pro franchise. They never gave Barry Sanders any help. He was their ticket seller, period. They said, as long as he's here, we can sell seats. People are going to pay to watch, whether they think we have a chance or not. Because basically with him, he's going to give us a highlight play.
Right.
They never built around him. They never took care of them. They never took care of the other guys. You had your Herman Moore, what was it, Robert Porcher. Yep. I'm trying to think of any other decent players that he had. Most of those guys, when they were still in their prime, they didn't get taken care of. How many guys that you see, I guess, when they have their games, the old legends that are hanging around that are really still affiliated? There's really not a lot that are still affiliated with the Lions because they seem to be one of the only teams that never really took care of their own, a la Barry retiring.
They never really had legends. If you take Barry out of it and Charlie Sanders and a couple of the other offensive linemen, who are their legends?
Well, poor drafting.
Yep, terrible drafting.
They had. I mean, it's not like they haven't had the draft choices.
3 wide receivers in a row. I believe it was top 3 wide receivers in a row. You ended up with Megatron and garbage.
Yeah, Megatron's talking about leaving.
Yeah,
if Megatron ends up with the Raiders, do not be surprised.
Oh, that's terrible.
Hey, I'm just telling you.
But I like the guy.
Which would you rather stay around and hang around in Detroit, be the best receiver that can't get the ball from your quarterback because he doesn't know what he's doing this week, or I can make 20% less and go play for the Raiders, up and coming team. Then you got Crabtree,
Cooper.
Megatron.
Right.
And Cooper.
And Murray. Now you got a ball spread situation.
That's a great receiving core. You could put yourself or me back there to run the ball, and we could still average 3 yards a carry.
I run the 40 in about 3.2 days, so I don't know how much you could put me anywhere and have me run anything. But let's let's save the power went out in Brandonville. Let's save the Megatron to where he's going next discussion, because I think that the Colts could be a possibility. I think there's some other young teams that might want to pony up money with young quarterbacks to give a reliable a weapon, and no, he's no longer the deep field threat he is. He can go make a play anywhere he's got to make a play. So it's got about 5 more minutes here on the FanZeal Sports Weekend Review. We appreciate everybody joining us. Continue to tweet us at FanZeal throughout the week for your questions. Go to fanzeal.com. Sign up for the funniest newsletter in sports. It comes out every Monday morning early, and you will giggle, you will laugh. Some generally attractive women in there, but some really fun stories, some viral videos, stuff that you may have missed, and some really interesting takes by one of the columnists, Adam Robinson, on kind of the biggest stories in sports. I know that he's looking at the future of Ronda Rousey coming up, which we talked a little about last week, and how it will impact women's sports overall. So head over to FanZeal, sign up for that site. It's going to be a very, very interesting week in sports coming up here with Thanksgiving week and the games in the short notice. But we're going to focus a little bit on Sunday. We're going to do this real quick. The aforementioned Lions and your aforementioned Raiders. Raiders in Detroit. Who do you like?
I'm going Raiders on this one.
All right.
Derek Carr is the future. Raiders, they're on the upswing, and the Lions are the Lions. I want to give them benefit of the doubt, but I'm going Raiders by field goal.
All right. Colts at Falcons in a game where somehow both teams are still in the playoff hunt. Falcons started off hot and then went garbage. Colts, I never know what I'm getting week to week. I'm going to go – I'm sorry, in the first game I'm going to take the Raiders too, because picking the Lions is fool's gold. I'm going to pick the Falcons because they're at home and because I simply can't bring myself to pick the Colts these days.
I'm with you. Is it too – well, I mean, Luck is pretty much done for the year.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for him to regain his status back to elite level quarterback?
Next year. It won't be this year. It'll be next year with a new coaching staff. And they're gonna shore up protections, and they're gonna calm him down a little bit. I think he feels he needs to do too much. That's why he's playing quarterback like a linebacker, and you just simply can't do that. You just can't. You put yourself in too many situations where you get injured. It's not smart. You're better off punting the ball every so often and playing a field position game, getting back and driving your team, than you are going head first into a charging linebacker just to prove you got 3 more feet. It's silliness, and even the coaching staff has said you can't do that. But it'll be a different coaching staff next year. Could be Nick Saban. I don't want to get those rumors started, but you never know. So I'm going to go Falcons there. We got a lot of Alabama still to talk about. There's a lot of college football left. We'll get back to that soon. Rams.
I don't think Saban's leaving for Colts. Just saying.
You don't think so?
Not for the Colts. I don't think it's a big enough job.
I don't know. You got your franchise quarterback, an owner that wants to win. You got some history.
Okay. If you say you have 3 jobs.
Okay.
You got the Colts job.
Yep.
You got the Miami job.
Yep. And the Giants job, maybe.
And the Giants job. And then you got the USC job.
Well, he's not leaving Alabama to go to UFC. He doesn't see that as an upgrade. No shot. Only people in California see that as an upgrade. There's nobody in the SEC that sees that as a better job. And Alabama pays more.
So out of all those pro jobs, you think Indiana's the best pro job?
Well, he's not going back to Miami. They're not going to have him. That ship has sailed. And I think he doesn't want to deal with the New York media. I think he has absolutely no desire to put himself in a situation where every single decision he makes has to be questioned. He's a dictator. He's a monarch. He doesn't like to be asked about anything. He runs a program, and he can do that in Indianapolis. There's about 3.5 writers there now, and some decent radio. I like Indianapolis sports radio, but those guys aren't WIP in Philadelphia. They're not the Fan in New York. I mean, they're not even SNT or NST in Baltimore, where you got to worry about those guys. So
nice little name drops there.
There you go. Hey, my radio peoples are good, and I appreciate being able to listen to them. I'll be able to listen to WFAN and the WIP this week. So Rams at Ravens. We're going to keep this moving. Rams are starting Case Keenum in an NFL football game on purpose. And the Ravens have been terrible, but I want to repeat that. The Rams are starting Case Keenum in a football game on purpose. Rams at Ravens. B, who you got?
Wow, Gurley can't play quarterback, huh? I guess I got to go with the Ravens, but this is like the toilet bowl, man. Like we're trying to see the battle of the worst, or the battle of worst to first.
Yeah,
like,
this is one of those. This is one of those. I'll take the Ravens picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just by a nose.
Staying East Coast. The Bucks at the Eagles. You know, normally you'd say, well, the Eagles are down to a backup quarterback, and the Bucks have been looking good, so this is a no-brainer. But
Mark Sanchez, dude.
Sanchez ran that offense better than Bradford did. And yes, he threw that killer interception at the end, but he ran that offense faster. That was the first time all season that the offense from Philadelphia looked like what the offense is supposed to look like in a Chip Kelly offense. And that's the only reason that, and I feel like being a tremendous homer right now, and I'll be in the area for this game. I'm going to go Eagles by this much.
Okay. They have to focus.
And mind you, we've got 4 minutes left, my man. So before you start your we got to roll through here on the fans.
Okay.
Weekend review.
They really just have to do one thing. Concentrate on doing one thing. Sanchez, just concentrate on not losing the game. Do not lose the ball. All you have to do is outplay famous Jameis. This dude's probably got some crab legs in his pocket or something. He's going to, he's starting to pick it up a little bit, but you're just run the offense the way it's supposed to be. And if you can get any kind of running game, that's a positive, and that will tilt the game. I'm trying to roll with you. All right. Yeah, I'll go with the Eagles.
I know it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still in the NFL. We're looking at we'll run through these real quick because I think some of these are gimmies. Broncos at Bears. Without Peyton, it's Brock is in. Bears got to be, right? In cold weather?
Yeah. The Bears.
The Bears. Jets at Texans with Tyler Yates playing because, again, Case Keenum, I guess, wasn't available. And it looks like Fitzpatrick is likely to play. I'm going to go Jets.
I'm going Jets. Chris Ivory should have a big game.
Big game. I agree. Redskins at the Panthers. Actually, probably closer game than people think. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to do his best Tom Brady impersonation against his defense. I think the Panthers eke out a win, probably late field goal, but I think they're undefeated after this week.
Yes. Washington fans, please do not get happy. Last week was your Haley's Comet. It's not going to happen. You're not putting up 47 points, especially not on the Panthers.
Nope. No, sir.
The ladies, the fans may get to see a little bit more of Cam dancing.
Hey, I like the Cam dance. I think I actually want to get into that with you next week or maybe even Sunday when we chat because, you know what, this to me strikes of underlying racial issues. And I'm being serious. I don't want to get into – I don't like to bring the race card up too often. But the man scored a touchdown in the NFL. Let him dance. He's not arrogant. He's not doing anything crazy. He's energetic. He's vibrant. We'll deal with this later because I'll get off on this and we'll be here for a while.
Yes.
Cowboys at Dolphins.
I do have a lot to say on that.
Yeah, I'm sure both of us do. I know we're on the same side on it. It's okay. We'll educate a little. Cowboys at Dolphins. Tony Romo's back. Des Bryant's back. Dolphins are garbage. I can't do it again. You and I have been through this where I pick them every week it seems and watch them get their ass kicked. I can't laugh at myself anymore. We're going to go with the Cowboys on the road in Miami.
Yeah, this is going to be like watching an old Western because there's going to be a lot of dead bodies on the sidelines. They're either old, used-up quarterbacks or linebackers. Whoever's left, whichever team has more bodies left that are vertical is basically who's going to win. Rusty Dusty Cowboys and the I can't play defense or know what I'm doing Dolphins.
Nice.
Yeah. Cowboys by a touchdown.
All right. Chiefs at Chargers in a game I actually am surprisingly going to give to the Chargers because it's in San Diego and because when the Chiefs have played well 2 straight weeks, you can guarantee an Andy Reid letdown. I know a lot of people are not agreeing with me on this one because the Chargers have been awful. What's your take?
I'm picking the Chargers on this for one reason. the Chargers have one thing that can outrun the entire Chiefs offense, and that's Phillip Rivers' mouth. So that dude is going to talk so much smack. KC, I don't see anybody stopping him.
All right. Packers at Vikings. Now, this is a very, very important game, a very big game. It's in Minnesota. It's the late game on Fox. Who do you like?
I'm leaning towards picking Minnesota, but I'm got to go with Green Bay because something just tells me that they can't play this poorly this many weeks in a row, especially against a team in their own division. This is a major, major game for them, and has playoff implications. So I've got to think that Aaron Rodgers and the boys have got to get up for this one, and they got to make send a message.
I'm going to hop on the purple bandwagon. I think that the Packers are out of sync. I think the Vikings are really turning the corner. They've got the one thing that can really stop Aaron Rodgers, which is Adrian Peterson, because a running game will keep Aaron Rodgers from getting a ball. And when that happens, Bridgewater does not make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't take a lot of chances, but you don't have to. Even with Matthews in the middle, I think Peterson's got a buck and a quarter in him. Probably 28, 30 carries. So I'm going to go Vikings in a close one, but I won't be surprised if it flips the other way. 3 games left. Niners at Seahawks. Seahawks, done.
I'm going to go with the Niners.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Bengals and Cardinals. If the game was in Cincinnati, if the game's in Cincinnati, I think I'm going to the Bengals. In Arizona, I'm going Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, no one is more amped for this game than Carson Palmer. Remember, he played on a lot of those good Cincinnati teams, and he got tired of people talking all that trash, and they let him go for basically 2 bags of Magic Peanuts. So I think Palmer's going to go out there and try to pick these boys apart and really, extend the damage as far as what Houston did last week.
Well, you got 2 very good teams, both well-rounded teams, well-coached teams. I think Arizona's a better coach team, but give Marvin Lewis his due. He's got a very, very good team there. Cardinals by, let's call it 7 late. And then Monday night, Bills at Patriots, the Rex Ryan, I can never catch a break bowl in New England on national TV the week of Thanksgiving. I'm giving this to Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and I think it's probably not even going to be that close.
Yeah. Patriots, 10 points, 2 birds, a little extra gravy on the side, and Belichick may even crack a smile. Who knows?
Yeah, only if the hoodie fits real well. I want to thank everybody for popping into the no sleeves. Want to thank everybody for popping in the Fantasy Weekend Review. If you haven't yet, go to Sports Illustrated and the Monday Morning Quarterback. A lot of us know a lot about sports, and we're big fans, but if you really want to see the inner workings of how an NFL game plan is put together, Peter King has a magnificent 2-part story up with the inside workings of the Arizona Cardinals offense against the Browns from a couple weeks ago. Carson Palmer with virtual reality, how Bruce Arians breaks down a game plan when they know they're going for the big home run. Just a really well-done insider article that makes you think, wow, I love this game, and I don't really know anything about it. So that's Brandon Boykin. I'm Justin Simon. One more shout out to the Zolt Charger. This thing is just amazing. If you don't have one, if you travel at all, go to ZoltCharger.com. Nope, don't do that. Go to @ZoltCharger on Fanzio. Go to GoZolt.com because you're going to be seeing this everywhere. The Wall Street Journal just named it its top choice. It is a laptop charger plus. It's a smart laptop charger. It knows what is plugged in. I can't be happier to have mine. I travel tonight, and instead of carrying my big brick and giant cords, this, all I need. So thanks to the folks over there at Zolt. You have a tremendous product. We really appreciate it. We will be back here Sunday. Check our both our Twitter feeds for what time exactly. It's probably going to be after the second game, depending how late they go. I'll be East Coast. Brandon Boykin will be West Coast, and we'll give a little flavor of both. So thanks, everybody, for popping in. For Brandon Boykin, I'm Justin Simon. Thanks for hanging out at the FanZeal Week in Review / NFL Preview. And we won't see you next week, but we'll see you this weekend. And if you're not there, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.